we spoke 2 years ago, and I was saying this woke thing is terrifying me. The hyper-racialization, hypersexualization of children, all of this stuff was starting to really scare me to the point where I stopped doing what I was doing for a living to take up the sword, if you will. In those 2 years, it seems to have got exponentially worse. And I suppose what I want to get out of this conversation is where are we heading? And first of all, what is the problem? Let's outline the problem again. And where are we heading?
Well, that's definitely something that we can talk about. It's a grim picture, but there's a lot of a bright ray of hope, I think, shining through it. I think that we have a pretty good shot at this, at stopping where this could be headed. But we should talk about the realities. What is the problem and where is it going, so that we can outline that for people and get them to understand that they have to, as you did, do something, pick up the sword, maybe more than a lot of people can do, but they can't sit on their couches either. They've got to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. There's even as the Solzhenitsyn thing of don't live by lies. Is that Solzhenitsyn? Yeah. So
Yeah.
can you outline the problem for us? What is the problem in culture at the moment?
Well, I see what's happening, and the reason that you called me 2 years ago and we chatted, and you said this is scaring the hell out of me, and now it seems to have become exponentially worse. What I see is happening is that the West is going through a cultural revolution, very much like what China got put through in the 1960s. The goal is to destroy the West, frankly. So, where is this going? Well, step one is to destroy the West as it exists and replace it with something different. And a cultural revolution is a very powerful tool for destroying a civilization. You can especially get young people involved. That's how Mao did it. He had his young Red Guard that he radicalized through the schools that came out in force for him. You get them to try to destroy and separate themselves from the old culture, so that the new generation coming up will have a new culture, which he said will be under what he called socialist discipline in China. I think we call it sustainability and inclusion here in the West today. And he said that the society will have a unity under a new basis. And this is, for example, to compare when we read Klaus Schwab's vision, what he calls the great narrative for a better future. He actually outlines that we're going to have a new social contract that's written in terms of sustainability and inclusion and meeting the sustainable development goals of the United Nations and upholding ESG standards. And this is truly what they say. I mean, Klaus Schwab recently was interviewed. And for people who don't know, he's the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum and the world's literal Bond villain. And he said that we're going to rewrite the social contract to move away from an economy of production and consumption and into one, very strangely, he said, into one of caring and sharing. And I'm sure that they will, as we've seen for the last few years, not only is that, offensive nonsense, but they're going to define what we will care about and with whom we will share. We will not define what caring and sharing look like for ourselves for certain. And so, this stakeholder capitalism model that they're trying to roll out is the name of the replacement model for what we have now, which is shareholder capitalism. And it's a model that's based off of China. So, the changes that happened not during the Cultural Revolution, but after, when Deng Xiaoping took the reins and they started to open up the Chinese market, I think is a very kind of brief view of our future. But our present is a cultural revolution meant to tear apart the existing society so that they make room to bring in the new society.